What is a GMO?
Well, I'm not really sure. You have to make me familiar with that. What is a GMO?
Well, it's an organism that's been genetically modified.
Genetically modified foods have been used since 1996, and the United States was the first to approve them for human consumption. It is a fairly new science that is used to acquire crops with certain characteristics or resistance to pesticides by replacing genes of organisms with other organisms. For example, replacing a section of a lima bean or carrot DNA with, say, alligator DNA would be genetic modification as we define it today.
A majority of packaged goods that are labeled natural are actually contain genetically modified ingredients, which makes it unclear, as to whether they are natural or not.
By 2014, about 90% of corn, cotton, and soybeans planted in the U.S. were genetically modified. Even people who don't want to produce or consume GM crops are feeling the repercussions.
Today, Azevedo's big worry is keeping alfalfa hay, the best feed for producing milk, from being contaminated by nearby genetically modified or GMO crops.
Many bureaucracies prohibit GMOs, citing safety concerns.
By October 2015, 17 European countries had banned genetically modified crops based on new European Union rules. Many people in the U.S. have seen the negative consequences in one form or another firsthand. For example, this pig farmer's livelihood was destroyed by GMO crops.
And we've been growing and feeding the GMO corn since 1997. And basically we got along what we assumed we were getting along fine with them. But when we started feeding our 2000 corn crop, we started experiencing a reproductive problem in our swine.
Supporters of GM crops argue that GMOs can feed the world because they increase product yields, but most of the foreign proteins being inserted into foods have never been eaten by humans before or tested for their safety. While the FDA claims GMOs are safe, many other countries around the world and many of United States allies have banned them.
My neighbor decides to plant GMO crops or Roundup Ready alfalfa, and he has a right to. I can't tell him how to run his life.
There are certain chemicals that are used in Roundup, of course the pesticide spray that's utilized on all these genetically modified crops.
The contamination happens when these seeds drift from one farmer's land onto another's.
What's going to keep that contamination from my farm?
While he was talking about this chemical, he made it seem as though it's absolutely okay to consume it as a human being. You won't suffer any health consequences as a result.
You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
You want to drink some? We have some here.
I'd be happy to, actually, but not really. But
not really.
I know it wouldn't hurt me.
If you say so, I have some glyphosate.
No, I'm not stupid.
Okay, so tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot.
The solution would be a labeling system similar to that of European countries. Currently, the USDA and the FDA are in argument over labeling because it is too complicated. They don't know who is going to be responsible, the USDA or the FDA. Both want clarification because any food that may be bioengineered does not specify if it could mean foods definitively recognized as genetically modified, but also could mean those foods with the potential for genetic modification. However, labeling would respect the wishes of a growing number of consumers who insist they have a right to know what foods they're buying and how they were produced.
Say no to GMOs.
Because after all, you do have the right to know what's in your food.
Organic farmers can do nothing but watch and wait.